And he said, this is something that you have lived. This is something that you've been through. This is something that you've learned, you've grown from. You can use your story to inspire other people. Earlier this year, I carried out a poll on LinkedIn where I asked my connections to tell me the presentation skill that they would love to improve on this year. The majority of respondents said that they would love to be able to tell better stories during their presentations. That is what we are going to be talking about in this video. I'm going to be sharing with you how to weave stories into your presentations. Hi, my name is Buife Nomeh. I help working professionals to turn their presentations from boring to brilliant, and I am the author of Beat Stage Fright for Good, a book where I shared the tactics that I used to overcome my own stage fright, as well as have used for countless of my clients to do the same. And the idea, or my hope, is that when you read the book, it would also help you in your own journey to becoming a more confident speaker. If you are a first-timer, you're welcome to my channel, and please go ahead and click that subscribe button so that you can become a part of this community. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for being a loyal subscriber, a loyal family member, a loyal community member. Like the video and share so that this content can reach more people. Before we get into how to weave stories into your presentations, let's talk about why it is important. I have done a lot of research. A couple of things that I found out is that, one, human beings have less attention span than goldfish. Yes, you heard that right. I know it's crazy, but it's true. The second thing is that as time passes, people tend to remember less and less and less of what they heard or learned during a presentation. This means that you have to strive to do three important things every time you have the privilege or the opportunity to speak in front of anybody. One, you have to work hard to gain their attention. Two, you have to work twice as hard to keep that attention. And three, you have to ensure that you are memorable, your message is memorable, so that your audience can remember more of what you said to them during your presentation as time goes on. The reason this is important is that the more they remember it, the greater the chances that they would apply it to get the results that you prescribe. The thing that can help you to achieve these three things is storytelling. You have to weave stories into your presentation. It doesn't matter how technical or business oriented or how much numbers you have to talk about. Everything can be conveyed through a story. What are the best ways to weave stories into your presentation? First, choose a story that conveys your main idea. Listen, whether you are speaking on a very technical topic or a topic that has a lot of numbers that you have to talk about, or like I said before, whether it's a business presentation, everything can be boiled down to a message, a single main idea. And if you've never done this before, this is one of the things that I would like you to start doing from today. Whenever you are asked to give a presentation, you have to sit down and ask yourself, what is the main idea that I want to convey? Your main idea is the crux or the most important thing you want your audience to know about the topic of that presentation. Do I want them to see how our numbers are dwindling, or how the new product or system that I am proposing can help us to improve our processes and profits? Whatever it is, you have to define what your main idea is. Now, when you know what this main idea is, then you ask yourself, what are the possible stories that I can tell to help them see this? Your stories would help you show how the numbers are dwindling. Maybe you were having 5 customers engaging your business or your company every week, but now it's going down to 2. Or the 5 customers used to buy products or pay for services that were worth say 500,000 naira, but right now they are paying for products that are worth 300,000 naira. You can choose the story of one customer to convey that idea that this woman or this man used to buy this number of products or pay for this quality of service or this level of service in the past year, but for the past 6 months, the orders he or she has been placing has been dwindling. That is a story that you can tell. Put a face to what you want to convey. Now, if you're asking, but if I don't even know what stories to tell, I don't have any stories, I find it hard to come up with stories, the answer to that is very simple. What I started doing is to document my stories. So if an event happens, especially an event that helps me see something in a different light, or helps me to, maybe something that happened really resonated with me and got me thinking about something in a different way, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be this is a good lesson on attitude, or this is a good lesson on leadership, or this is a good lesson on this and that. So I created something that I call the story vault. The story vault is simply a tracker that helps you track the events that you witness or hear about, the possible lessons that are in that event, and the areas that those lessons can be applied. So it's a simple tracker, and I have shared that in the description box. So just go ahead in the description box and download a copy of my story vault, and then use that to document events that you experience or hear about, so that going forward you would always have a vault of stories that you can easily pick out from. And don't worry, you're not signing up for anything. Just click on that link and you have access to download it and print as many copies as you require. Put it in a file so that you can have your story vault filed somewhere. The second idea on how you can weave stories into your presentation is to start and close your presentations with a story. When you've decided on what your main idea is and what you're going to talk about, you can use a story to start that presentation. Because I wanted to keep this video quite short, I chose a simple story. When I told you about the survey or the poll that I carried out earlier this year. So sometimes you can have a story as simple as that, or you can have a more detailed story. But all in all, you have to consider the time that you have to give that presentation. That would help you know how much of the story that you have to tell, what parts you need to cut out, and what parts you need to keep. So start your presentation with a story, close it with a story. The third way is to use stories as examples. Every presentation has a body. So in your body, you have your main point 1, and you have supporting points, main point 2, supporting points, main point 3, supporting points. When you have your main point, instead of using plain data to convey that, tell a story of how that happened or how that can happen. Before I started helping people overcome stage fright and improve their presentation skills, I used to help business owners and personal brands to create content for their social media platforms. That included writing for them, creating content calendars for them, doing research, and coming up with topics that they can then create content on. And I totally enjoy doing that because I love to write and I love to research, and I also love learning about things. So I had the opportunity to help a personal brand strategist. I had the opportunity to write for a fashion designer. I had the opportunity to write for a lot of people that had different kinds of businesses. So in doing that, I learned about those different businesses. However, I went out one day to do something and I met a friend of mine. We got talking about different things, and then one thing led to the other, and we started talking about the work that we do. And he said to me, Buife, I know that you are into this other thing and that you're really good at it, but I would really advise you to consider helping other people overcome stage fright. And he told me about how he's seen me blossom from very shy, reserved, don't want to be interrupted introvert to someone who boldly communicates in front of people. And he said, this is something that you have lived. This is something that you've been through. This is something that you've learned, you've grown from. you can use your story to inspire other people. And he was right. So I started talking about my story, how I worked on my own stage fright and what I did, and teaching other people how to also overcome their stage fright and improve their presentation skills, which is why we're here today, right? So this is the power of stories. When you use a story during your presentation, you connect with the people in the audience far better than you would if you were just talking about numbers and statistics. Once you connect with your audience, it becomes easier to do those three things I mentioned in the beginning: capturing their attention, keeping it, and being memorable. So go ahead and download that storyboard. When you start preparing for your presentations, the first thing is decide the stories that you're going to tell. It has to convey your main idea. You can use it to start and close your presentations, and you can use stories as examples. And those are my 3 ideas for how to weave stories into your ideas. If you love them or if you found them helpful, let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and do share it with someone who you know would benefit from it as well. See you in my next video.